Good morning, students. Sorry for the technical delay. Today we'll be discussing disaster management. It's a very important topic, especially in COVID pandemic. You have experienced the Disaster Management Act being implemented. So we must understand disaster management in detail. Now, learning objectives for today's session are: at the end of lecture, you should be able to define disaster, understand the term hazard and vulnerability. You should be able to enumerate natural and man-made disasters, appreciate disaster management cycle. Now let us see the definition of disaster. Disaster means a catastrophe, mishap, calamity or grave occurrence in any area arising from natural or man-made causes that results in substantial loss of human life or human suffering, damage to property, ecological disruption or deterioration of health and health services on a scale sufficient to warrant an extraordinary response from outside the affected area. Now they have given some criteria or guidelines that if you have more than 10 people killed, more than 100 people affected, when state declares an emergency or international assistance is called for. So these are the objective criteria to label an event as a disaster. Now let us understand the terms hazard, vulnerability and risk. So what do we mean by hazard? Any dangerous phenomenon, human activity or a condition that has potential to cause disruption, that is property damage or damage to people, that is loss of life or injuries, and their environment, meaning thereby social and economic disruption, environmental damage. So this is hazard. Then let us see what is vulnerability. It measures extent of services or infrastructure of community or area likely to be disrupted or damaged by the disaster. We know that coastal area is prone for cyclones. Now let us see the equation. From these two terms we can calculate the disaster risk. So disaster risk is equal to hazard multiplied by vulnerability. Now before going to today's lecture proper, let me share a very important website, initiative of Government of India, which all of you must refer to. This website nidm.gov.in. This is National Institute of Disaster Management. It's located in New Delhi. Now I have attended a 5 days training program at NIDM New Delhi, and all of you must visit this website. You can see on the menu bar, there is icon of training and workshops. So there is a calendar of workshops all over the year for different category of persons like doctors, administrators, etc. Then we also have e-learning portal on this website, and there are two options. If you click that e-learning, there is online courses are available and one self-study program is also available, and this is an excellent learning resource. Now all of you are adult learners, and National Medical Council now believes in self-directed learning and e-learning. So as your own interest and as a citizen of India, you must understand various disasters in different parts of country, initiatives of government of India. So if you access this site, you will get best idea of disaster management in India. On the last day of training, 5 days training, they took us to Ghaziabad, where we have NDRF battalion, a specialized force for disaster, which all of you have seen on television. Many teams of NDRF were deputed at coastal area in Mumbai, Gujarat for Taukte cyclone and one more Riaz cyclone now in Orissa. So I request all of you, today afternoon is holiday for you, so please make use of this website. Click for e-learning, go for self-study program, and all of you register using your email and mobile. It's totally free of cost, and there are few learning modules. At the end of each module there is a MCQ based test, and I want all of you, all the students, to complete this self-study program, and at the end of successful completion you will also get a certificate. So for your batch I make this activity compulsory, and maybe you can take 1 month's time to complete this self-study program. Now let us see what are the characteristics of disaster. So there are 4 letters starting from the word U: unpredictability, unfamiliarity, urgency, uncertainty, and 2 more: speed and threat. So you should remember this characteristics of disaster. Now let us see the Indian scenario. So Indian subcontinent is very vulnerable to natural disasters. 57% of land is vulnerable to earthquakes, of which 12% is vulnerable to severe earthquakes. 68% of land is vulnerable to drought, 12% is vulnerable to floods, 8% land is vulnerable to cyclones. We mentioned that there were recent 2 cyclones. So we have got 5,700 kilometers of coastal line which is at risk of getting cyclones. Now, apart from natural disasters, man-made disasters, or some of the cities where industries are more in number, they are also vulnerable to chemical and industrial disasters and man-made disasters. Now, few prominent disasters in India: Great Bengal famine of 1769 to 1770, in which almost 1/3 population perished. Then drought, again that is a common happening. The paradox in India is that area affected by flood is also increasing, and area affected by drought is also increasing, and the only possible long-term solution could be the river linking project. There was a separate ministry for this project when Vajpayee ji was Prime Minister of India, a river linking project, and that is need of the hour as a long-term measure to prevent drought and floods. You must not forget the flooding in Mumbai in 2005, in Latur earthquake in September 1993, where almost 10,000 people died, and I was member of the team sent by Aurora Medical Trust that time. We were 30 doctors, and we worked in Latur district. Taushigad village was allocated to us for relief and rescue work there for 5 days. Now this I mentioned that the area, shaded area, almost every year is subjected to flood. And I told you paradoxically, area affected by flood as well as drought is increasing because of maybe greenhouse effect, climate change. Now this map, shaded map, shows the area where there is hazard of wind and cyclone. Now this map shows us map of India with different shades showing different risks. The first one with dark shade is very high risk. So you can appreciate the areas which have very high risk of earthquake, then high risk, then moderate risk and low risk. You also should remember the tsunami. Actually tsunami, first there is earthquake in the seabed, which is a precipitating factor to give rise to tsunami. And all of you who have witnessed Indian Ocean tsunami. Now let us come to second objective, types of disasters. I told you disasters can be natural as well as man-made. Now first I will enlist the natural disasters: earthquake, floods, cyclone, tidal wave, volcanic eruptions, epidemics and pandemics. Now currently pandemic is going on. Heat waves, famines, desertification, tsunami, hurricanes, tornadoes, fires, landslides, snowstorms. If you recollect past 1 year, India has witnessed many natural disasters, including landslides, flash floods, pandemic and cyclones. Then coming to man-made, it can be classified as unintentional and intentional. Unintentional could be industrial accidents, explosion, fire, hazardous material release, structural collapse, transportation crash. And intentional could be civil strife, terrorism and war. Unfortunately, if you look back in history, we see more people are killed in man-made disasters than natural disasters. Now, natural disasters are basically classified as geophysical, which includes earthquake, volcano, tsunami. It can be hydrological, includes floods, landslides. It can be meteorological, cyclone, cold wave, extreme temperature, snow, ice, dust storm, sandstorm, etc. It can be climatological, like drought, extreme hot, cold, forest wildfire. It's a very sad story. We are losing green cover very fast and facing various consequences because of that. And on top of that, we are losing our forests because of fires. We have seen in many parts of the world. Glacial melting and biological also. I mentioned about epidemics, pandemics and insect infestation. Man-made, I told you, Bhopal gas tragedy, you must remember, where 2 million people were affected, 3,000 deaths, and the company was Union Carbide in Bhopal. Then we have got insidious disasters where there is radiation exposure, as in nuclear weapon production of factories, research laboratories, or chemical plants releasing toxic products into rivers. Then again wars and civil conflicts. It's a very tragic story of mankind. that developed countries have developed high-tech weapons and ammunitions which can destroy Earth 30 times. We may not have a drug to fight COVID, effective drug to fight COVID, but we have got, we talk of bullet trains, we talk of going to Mars, we talk of destroying Earth by missiles. So this is sad paradox. Now coming to causes of disasters. Poverty is very important. Poverty, population growth. I think this is the most important cause. Look at the population of India and China. So Indian population itself, if we combine population of many developed countries, that equals to population of India. So because of this uncontrolled population and the limited resources, there is encroachment on the nature, there is excessive utilization of resources, which causes again greenhouse effect, climate change, emission of greenhouse gases and various pollutions. Then rapid urbanization, again causing many bad effects on climate. Then transition in cultural practices, more and more approach towards consumerism. Like Mahatma Gandhi said, live simply. So human being, developed countries were having more money, they're trying to use that money in such a way that it damages the nature. It has got more carbon footprint, environmental degradation as a result of deforestation, lack of awareness, again that is very important, war and civil life. So these are the causes of disasters, and the effects include loss of life, severe physical injuries, psychological trauma, property damage, food scarcity, environmental destruction, economic and business loss. You can imagine what tremendous loss the globe is facing because of pandemic of COVID for more than 1 year. It has seriously affected our economy. Now this is the take-home message of my lecture. I will put a small video in this PowerPoint slide. So this is a moment, live simply. And you can you identify the person? Yes, he is Sonam Wangchuk. All of you must have seen the movie Three Idiots by Aamir Khan. And the person who Aamir Khan has tried to show in the movie is this real life person from Ladakh. He is an engineer by occupation, Sonam Wangchuk. And he has started this movement, livesimply.org. And I request all of you to visit the website and become partner in this worldwide movement, a global movement to save our planet. So let us watch the video.
Hi, this is Sonam Wangchuk from a very windy Ladakhi afternoon. Let me show you this valley where I am. It's called the Phyang Valley, where we are building an alternative university for mountain development and climate change adaptation. The sad story of this valley is that in 2006 there was a devastating flash flood which took many lives and washed away many farms, fields and houses. When we asked people, when was the last time you had seen such flash floods, the answer was, we don't remember. The next flash flood was in 2010, and the next 2015, and the next 2017. The mountains are facing the wrath of nature in the face of climate change. For the last 30 years, together with my team, we have been struggling, or rather playing, in these mountains with earth, sun, ice and fire to help climate change mitigation and adaptation. With my team, I have been designing and building many institutions, all run on solar energy, using the sun for space heating, cooking, pumping, lighting and so on. Of late, we have been building ice stupa, which is a form of artificial baby glaciers that store the water from the winter in the form of large ice cones till the springtime when farmers need water the most. But today we feel that all these innovations are just small fixes that will get us nowhere if the rest of the world goes on with business as usual with their high-tech lives and polluting lifestyles. Today, on the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, who epitomized simple living, we want to start a global movement starting from the mountains of Ladakh to appeal to the people of the world to please live simply so that we in the mountains may simply live. But how do we reach out to the people of the world? Well, that's where we need your help. We're planning a uniquely innovative crowdfunding campaign where people of the world will contribute not in money. In any case, the planet doesn't need money. It needs changes in lifestyle and behavior. So people can contribute by pledging lifestyle change, and the site will tell them how much worth in dollars or rupees they are contributing. For example, a pledge to not use single-use plastic could amount to a contribution of, say, $1,000. Similarly, other behavior changes like choosing trains instead of flights, stairs instead of elevators, bicycles instead of cars, or a pledge to go vegetarian may amount to $1,000. And planting trees will be evaluated by the site, and a total global contribution will be worked out, which may run into trillions of dollars. Partner organizations are expected to develop apps, games, websites, and start city clubs around the idea to make it easy and fun for everyone, especially children, to join this movement. We're appealing for partnerships from climate scientists, environmental organizations, government bodies, schools, universities, app and game developers, passionate individuals, and influencers and celebrities. We appeal to you to please connect with us so that we can design and build an effective movement by New Year this year. Please live simply. And as we greet and bid farewell in Ladakh, we say Jule. Jule!
And you'll get the link to this YouTube video, and all of you become partner and member in that global movement as your contribution. Now have a look at this table, which shows short-term effects of major disasters in terms of deaths, in terms of severe injuries requiring extensive treatment, and increased risk of communicable diseases, damage to health facilities, damage to water systems, food shortage, and major population movements. Now we can see that deaths are more in earthquake, and we have few deaths in floods, but the population affected is more in case of flood. Fortunately, deaths are less. So this table is given in your textbook. You can refer it. Moving to disaster management and its objective. So meaning of disaster management is the range of activities designed to maintain control over disaster and emergency situations and to provide a framework for helping at-risk persons to avoid or recover them from impact of disaster. Disaster management deals with situations that occur prior to, during and after the disaster. There are few slides in my presentation which show what care should be taken before disaster, during disaster and after disaster, by taking example of few disasters. So objectives of disaster management are to reduce or avoid the human, physical and economic losses suffered by individuals, society and country at large, and to reduce personal suffering and to speed recovery. A typical disaster management includes prevention, mitigation and preparedness, and all three will come under in pre-disaster phase, before the disaster strike. Prevention, mitigation and preparedness. And post-disaster phase, there are three terms starting from the letter R. You remember 3 R's. One is response, then is rehabilitation, and third is reconstruction. Now, this is a typical disaster cycle. We appreciate while writing theory, full questions or short note, if you draw such schematic diagrams, you will get slightly more marks, and it also helps your conceptual understanding. So same thing is shown here. So recovery phase after disaster and the risk reduction phase before disaster, these are shown in a cyclical format. And the mitigation preparedness comes before disaster, and after disaster strikes there is response, rehabilitation and reconstruction, 3 R's. Slightly more detailed concept here, they have classified in slightly more advanced manner, like pre-disaster, response and post-disaster. And the measures in pre-disaster include risk assessment, mitigation, prevention and preparedness. And the star is warning or evacuation, which comes under response. Recent cyclones which hit the east and west coast of India, Taukte and Yas. Fortunately, we got early warning. We were able to inform accordingly to the fishermen, to the people living at the coast. We could deploy the NDRF teams. So warning and evacuation plays very major role, and our satellite and information technology has a much role to play, saving people, moving people to the safer areas, providing immediate assistance, assessing damage, and then ongoing assistance, then restoration of infrastructural services. As we see, there is disruption in electricity, communication, transport. The roads become blocked because of trees, maybe roads are washed because of floods. Then starts the post-disaster services in the form of reconstruction, resettlement, relocation. Now this requires a lot of money, and the government of Maharashtra as well as government of India announces some packages for this reconstruction, economic and social recovery, then risk assessment and mitigation prevention. So the cycle continues. Now, when we attended this 5 days training at NIDM New Delhi, so one beautiful circle with different aspects of disaster management are covered in this diagram. Source is NIDM New Delhi. So again, they have given very detailed interventions in various aspects. So broadly they have classified in hazard analysis, vulnerability analysis, mitigation prevention, preparedness, prediction and warning, and response, and lastly recovery. So because of shortage of time, I will not explain in detail, but when you look at the PPT later on, please have a look at the individual component in each aspect of disaster management. Now let us see a few common examples. What precautions are taken before disaster, during disaster, and after disaster. First example is of floods. So few actions which are taken before floods. We know which areas are subjected to floods every year, areas prone for floods. So town planning is very essential. So nobody should construct houses or any building. So in the red zone, which comes in impact of flood, so town planning is very crucial. The building codes, then special signals when dam breaks. Again, this is very important. Watch water levels after heavy rains. Now managing exit of water in dams is very crucial thing. Now few years ago there was a flood disaster in Sangli district of Maharashtra, and the one main reason was excessive rainfall in Koyna region and Mahabaleshwar region. Too much rainfall in a limited area. But more important than that, the two dams, Koyna Dam and Almaty Dam. Koyna Dam is situated in Maharashtra, Almaty in Karnataka. So there was some mismanagement in managing the release of water. Now that led to accumulation of water in between. So again, this is a preventable aspect. So this has to be looked into. Proper leaving of water and daily mapping, daily forecasting of the rain, how much water will come in the dam, how much water is to be released. So that has to be implemented. Regularly listening to weather forecast. Again, this is very important. Warning by administration on radio and media. Fortunately, social media can play a big role. Radio, television, and now social media. Now, what can be the measures taken during floods? Turn off electricity to reduce risk of electrocution. Very important. Protect people and property. Take vulnerable people to upper floor, including children, old, sick, disabled. Now in that Sangli disaster, we have seen that in some of the villages, the entire villages were submerged in the water, and many livestock, cows and buffaloes also died. Then move personal belongings to upstairs and go to raise shelter. Now here there is NDRF is doing excellent job in evacuation of the people with the help of boats, with the help of helicopters. Then beware of the water contamination and use disinfection. Naturally, in flood scenario, there is a chance that drinking water gets contaminated and there can be epidemic of waterborne diseases. Now after floods, wait until water is declared safe or treated. Clean, disinfect rooms that were flooded. Then sterilize or wash with boiling water all the kitchen utensils. Get rid of any food, canned food in the refrigerator or freezer because they are naturally damaged because electricity was not there. Get rid of all consumables, drinks, medicine, cosmetics. So these are very important instructions. So students, this lecture was supposed to be taken in two parts. I have covered first part today and the remaining part of lecture on disaster management will be covered on next Friday between 8 to 9 am. Sorry for the technical disturbances this time. So as a homework, go to the website of NIDM, National Institute of Disaster Management, which I have shown you, www.nidm.gov.in, and if you see the menu bar, there are e-learning initiatives. If you click that, there is a self-study program and you please register for that self-study program, and I will be giving you time of 1 month to complete as per your leisure time. Very interesting. There are few modules consisting of PPTs and videos followed by MCQ test, and this is totally free of cost. And once you cover all the modules, you will get a certificate from NIDM, e-certificate. So thank you everybody. Take care for the COVID. The cases are declining, but please remember all the precautions which we were taking since last 1 year. We have to continue with the precautions. Thank you. Have a nice day.